Cool. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rines Report here on RadioFreeRadford.com. This is the Rines Report, of course. We are here joined in studio at the moment with Dustin Staples. We'll be joined a little bit later by Yves White of SMAD's Student Media Advertising Department as well. He's a big sports fan. I know Dustin right here in front of me is a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Casual sports fan, so we don't expect too much. I'm not trying to downplay his credibility at all, but I just want to make it loud and clear for all the listeners at home. If Dustin says something foolish and outlandish, it's just because it's casual. That's all it is.
Right.
He isn't as committed to the game as the sports game as I am, but he's definitely committed to weather. Tell us about your program here on Radio Free Radford, Dustin.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. So I'm an active radio host here for RadioFreeRadford.com. I'm on every single day from 10 to 11 a.m. And the show is pretty much, there's really no name to the show technically because I talk a little bit about news, weather.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, occasionally, I will mention some sports, but more of the Highlanders side. I like to feature guests on here with any talent that you have out there. So if you're listening on this morning, please feel free. I would love to have your organization on. Like this morning, I had Are You Outdoors on. So they would have come on and talk about your organization. I'm your guy, and you can check out my business cards. They're here in Tyler Hall, 025. Pick us up, and I'll be more than happy to get in contact with you.
Do you got any? Do you got a preview for anybody else that's coming on this week, or going into next week? Today's Friday, so Monday. Who do you got going?
Well, actually, next week I have Are You Noteworthy, which is an a cappella group.
Oh, that's
actually,
amazing.
that was able to get in contact with them this morning. Actually, so all about that. And maybe I'll have the police and fire department on for anybody that's interested in getting involved outside the community. I'll be scheduling those interviews, calling them up today, and hopefully get them on next week sometime.
And your social media is Are You Weather One, correct? So you can find that on just about every social media platform. Dustin Staples on Facebook as well. We're also live streaming for our listeners on Radio Free Radford. We're live streaming every show this semester on the Rines Report Facebook page. Follow us, like us on Facebook. Also, of course, give Dustin a follow on social media as well. Mm-hmm. He is the executive weatherman for Highlander Student Media, and he loves it. He's with us, like he said as well, every day here on Radio Free Radford. Does some contribution work with Rock TV, does some stuff with the Tartan. So if you're picking up a publication, you see some weather reports, this is your guy right here. Yes. Mr. Dustin Staples. Follow Radio Free Radford on social media as well. Twitter at Radio Free Raddy. Instagram and Facebook are Radio Free Radford. Make sure to give them a follow for supplying us this wonderful platform. We're so happy to be here in studio, and there's plenty to talk about. Mm-hmm. First on the docket for the show today is Zion Williamson. Mm-hmm. Okay? So to explain why this is such a big topic, why we're leading the show off with it, and listeners of the show, frequent listeners, veteran listeners of the show, no, I'm not a big college sports guy. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm the most fluid with it. I'm a big NFL guy. Mm-hmm. That's my sport. But Zion is such a big figure in collegiate sports today.
Okay.
NCAA basketball, plays for Duke. He's a freak. He's been a freak since he was in high school. I remember seeing film of him. He was the number one. He was like one of the top 3 recruits coming out of high school.
Oh, wow.
Who decided to go to Duke. And in a big game against UNC this past Wednesday, Zion hurt his knee just moments into the game. Not even the first minute of play was over with before his shoe gave out from underneath him. This man is physically, he's a physical freak, dude. Like, when I'm telling you, he's like, what is he, like 6'7", 6'8", like 260 plus pounds of just pure athleticism. He made a cut moving towards the basket, I believe, and in the process of making that cut, his foot shot through his Nike sneaker. Broke through it.
Oh, my.
So imagine you're walking around and you're like, oh, man, let me get out of the way of one of these golf carts zipping along here at 15 miles per hour around campus. Let me zip around here, and then your shoe shoots out from under your foot.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oof, that's got to be painful.
It does hurt.
Oof.
I can't imagine it feels good at all. He hurt his knee moments into one of the biggest games in Duke's schedule all year this past Wednesday, and it ended up being a huge difference in the game, in the outcome. Duke lost the game 88-72. It wasn't even close without him on the floor. Their game plan runs through Zion Williamson. That was made apparent. But the big topic I wanted to cover today is, should Zion Williamson continue to play after this scare? There's no reports of him doing any serious damage to his knee. I saw a report saying day to day. You know, collegiate stuff, it's a little more, you can be a little more hush-hush about it. But this guy, for perspective, like we all know, like I said, you're not the biggest sports guy.
Yeah.
Barack Obama went to this game. There were guys like LeBron James tweeting at Zion Williamson, Barack Obama tweeting at him like, hope you feel better, man.
Yeah.
That's how big of a deal this kid is supposed to be, okay?
Wow.
So my question is, as a non-paid student athlete at Duke University, you're one of the best players in college basketball. You're doing a one and done, so you're going in 1 year and then going into the NBA draft. That's just the way the rules work currently. Should Zion Williamson continue to play after this incident? What do you think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, even though this one little incident happened to him, I wouldn't completely say, oh, well, I'm not going to do basketball anymore because of one small little incident.
Well, I just mean at the collegiate level.
Yeah, or the collegiate level. Well, see,
maybe... So let me put it in perspective for you, Dustin, okay? So you're projected to be, let's say you're a freak athlete. You've been playing basketball your entire life, right?
Okay.
And you're really, really good at it. And you're projected to go number 1 overall in the NBA draft, this upcoming draft, okay? You're going to make some real money. You're in college. You're not making anything. You're not benefiting from it. You're benefiting from experience and education, but a lot of these guys with this kind of talent don't really do too much with it. It's more, okay, I'm just here because I got to do this before I go to play in the NBA. So I'm just speaking on the business side of things. Okay. Do you make the decision to continue to play at Duke and chase like a national championship? Or do you do what's best for your self-interest, not play, and then go on to play in the pros because, okay, I want to go make money. This is just a pit stop for me.
Well, I mean, like I said, I would continue, take some time off, I'd say maybe.
Yeah, get healthy.
Obviously,
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, take some time off, and then maybe if you've got the considered energy and, if I want to continue, maybe not for the collegiate level, maybe go for a higher position. Yeah, go on and do it, so.
Yeah. So, because the way I'm thinking about this is, thousands of dollars sold in tickets. I want to say like the minimum price for a ticket to this game was like $2,500. Like I said, Obama was there, a number of other big names. You're putting your body on the line for someone else to profit. If you keep playing, I mean, you can go you have a potential to win a championship in March, which is a big deal. I mean, national championships are nothing to scoff at. It's a huge accomplishment. You can look back at your 1 year at Duke and say, hey, while I was there, I brought them a natty. You know what I mean? But if I was him, personally, I'm not going to play. I'm done. Like, after that, it's like, okay, I'm going to go secure the bag, go play in the NBA, go make some money. This is my pit stop. Sorry, Duke. Yeah. I know this is a huge program. It's a big deal for you guys, but my well-being is a little more precious than winning a national championship. Okay. Now, Duke fans aren't going to like that statement because they're like, oh, we don't have him. Obviously, we crumble. We can't win. Like, R.J. Barrett isn't enough for this team just to win games right now. Like, the game plan centers around the impact Zion Williamson has as the freak athlete that we haven't seen in years. Like, he's comparable. People are comparing this guy to LeBron James. That's how good Zion Williamson is. But like I said, if I was him, I would stop playing. It's a business decision. Go get some money in the NBA. Keep yourself healthy. Go do your combine stuff, whatever. But don't screw around and then hurt yourself. Yeah. Being the physical freak you are, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if I was him, I think more guys should go play in Europe. Because if you go play in Europe, you're spending some time overseas. You're getting some professional development. You're getting paid to be there. Yeah. You don't have to go, okay, one and done in college. You're going straight to the NBA, essentially, you're getting paid to do it. Right. Now, while it's hard to do that because, okay, you have family in the States, you've got a bunch of different ties back home, it's just a business decision. You know what I mean? You're making a conscious decision to say, okay, look, if I'm going to go play in the NBA, if I'm going to go play professionally, I might as well not waste my time in college. And I think seeing things like this is going to make more players go, okay, let me consider it. I mean, because Luka Doncic from the Mavericks was like, you should just go play. I mean, because Donovan Mitchell put out a tweet and said, it's a shame that this happened to Zion Williamson, feeling out for your brother, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then Luke was like, just go play in Europe. Go make some money. Yeah. And then go play in the NBA like I am. Like, it makes this pretty solid decision. You're getting more worldly experience, getting paid, like I said, professional development. I think it's a good decision to go play in Europe instead. Right. But, of course, there's more cameras, there's more action happening in the United States. You play at the college level. March Madness is crazy cool. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I feel like it's a little more complicated. Obviously, I'm simplifying things a little too much. Somebody out there is gonna argue with me and be like, "Oh, you're wrong because you shouldn't go play in Europe because of this and this reason." It's like you're probably right. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the master knowledge here for the NCAA college basketball stuff.
Yeah.
But if it was me, go get paid, man.
There you go.
Exactly. So we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to talk about one of the stupidest nicknames ever in professional sports history. Antonio Brown's being completely insane. So stick around here. We're going to play a quick 20-second ad, and we'll be right back.
Love it. Your new favorite station.
You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida.
All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
Welcome back into the Radio Free Radford studio. I'm your host, Tristan Blake Rines, here of the Rines Report, joined in studio, of course, by the weatherman of Radford University, Dustin Staples. You having fun, Dustin?
I am. It's been a joy I've had so far.
I say I'm not yelling at you. I just got to throw some enthusiasm out there.
Good.
I had a coffee today. I was feeling a little sluggish. Got to pep myself up a little bit.
And
Went out, had my second coffee of the year. I'm trying to be good.
Yeah, and with it being rain, you got to have a little bit of fun with it. Why not, right?
Oh man, it's gross outside,
It's
right?
horrible.
What's your weather? What's your quick weather analysis of how like the weather right now?
Well,
like if you could put it into three words, how terrible is the weather right now?
If I could put the weather in 3 words, I would say it's unpleasing, unappetizing,
Yeah,
and sleepy. Make you dreary in
Yeah.
some sense.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I say if I gotta put 3 words out there to comment about this weather, and I feel like every Radford University student, you live in the area, you're gonna get it. Just stay home.
Yeah.
Just stay home.
There
3
you go.
words.
There's your 3
Because
words.
it's so gross outside. If you're not wearing your rain boots today, your socks are gonna get wet. You're gonna be, squishing around, walking through campus, walking around the area. It's gross. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like I like snow and stuff. I don't
Same.
like this mucky rain. The only benefit to today is that it's not super windy. It's almost always windy here in the Highland.
It is.
But
It is. But today's Friday. That's a plus side of
today's
this.
Friday. That's correct. The kids are gonna go out tonight.
That's right.
Have some fun responsibly.
That's right.
And it's nice to have the weekend creep up so quickly.
Almost halfway to the middle of the semester. Spring break's almost 2 weeks away.
That's right. So you're a freshman.
I am.
Let me ask you a quick question. Are you having fun here at Radford? Are you enjoying yourself?
I am.
Talk about your Radford experience for a
Sure.
little bit.
For a little bit, this has been the best time I think so far. I've enjoyed it, and a lot of people are like, "You're just a freshman. How are you so involved like that?" I say,
You got a lot of time on your hands.
I do, and you follow what your passion's calling you for, and you go for it.
Yeah.
Don't just stand around and say, "Oh, I had the worst college experience ever." Whereas some people may, unfortunately, but you have, people like others, I guess, that say this is one of the best times they'll ever have in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And man,
But you're enjoying it here at Radford?
It's been a blast.
That's great.
Everybody's supportive.
So, would you say? So, if I said that your nickname was the Weatherman, would that be a pretty accurate nickname? Pretty accurate statement?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay.
Guess so.
So, while we're talking about nicknames, let me tell you about the dumbest nickname I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
Okay.
All right, Antonio Brown is as of the moment a Steelers wide receiver. There's some drama going on. He proclaimed himself Mr. Big Chest.
Okay.
Now, if you listen to the Tim Donnelly show on WRAD 101.7, 103.5, 1460, that's the show I intern with, and we talked about that a little bit on his show as well. Check them out on social media, by the way. I do some management of those social media accounts. But we talked about this a couple times, being probably the dumbest nickname ever. I can't think of anything in the sports realm that's a dumber nickname. I just can't. And also, you cannot give yourself a nickname. Like, it's something that other people have to bestow upon you.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, I played a little bit of high school football. Oh, I wish I could have played college football. When I was in high school and I played some football for a little bit, my nickname on the team I didn't give myself. It was Sunshine after the movie character. And I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't really a big fan of it at the time, but you just get over things like that. You obviously the weatherman. It didn't it comes with your profession, what you want to do. But I'm sure you didn't just go, hey guys, it's me. I'm the weatherman. Because then you never get called the weatherman ever in your life.
Oh, yeah.
After that, right?
Right.
So why? I don't want to call Antonio Brown Mr. Big Chest, but it's so stupid and funny. I can't help but think about it every time I see his name. So I just wanted to quickly put that out there. Dumbest self-proclaimed nickname ever. You cannot give yourself a nickname. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, the Steelers are going to move on from him after some locker room drama. The ownership talked to him. They both came to the agreement, hey, you shouldn't be playing with the Steelers anymore. After a lot of drama, stopped me for this one before, because Pittsburgh is always full of drama. Like Ben Roethlisberger calling all the other players in the locker room kids. Apparently that's a thing. Le'Veon Bell not getting paid, having some issues in the locker room with that. Antonio Brown at one point was like doing Facebook Live after they beat somebody and like blah blah blah. It's a chaotic like locker room environment. Like I'm sure it's fun, but I'm not sure that it's sustainable, and it doesn't seem healthy because every year. Because the Steelers are so good, talent-wise, they could be a Super Bowl contender every year. And they pretty much are. But there's always some drama that happens to catch them.
Yeah.
Like, the years that they don't have drama, like, if you took the last 5 years, removed all the drama, they could probably have won a Super Bowl in the last 5 years.
Wow.
But there's always something. Now, every team deals with problems. I get that. But for some reason, the Steelers just happen to have some kind of dumb drama every year. And that's what holds them back. So the Steelers are trying to get a package that helps the team. What will they actually get? I've got a couple ideas, and who was able to go trade for him. So, do you have any ideas on this whole scenario? Like you said, not the biggest sports guy.
No.
We've established that. But you're familiar with Antonio Brown as a football player?
I've heard a lot about him in the news. Yeah,
he's really, really good.
He's really good.
I mean, he's kind of wacky now.
Yeah.
But he's really good. What do I think that the Steelers could actually get for Antonio Brown? It's obviously got to be a first-round pick because he's a really good player. He's effective. He does his job very well. He's led the league in receiving yards and catches, and he's got some of the best hands in football. Just happens to be a little bit of a wacky person. Who do I think is able to trade for him? I got 3 teams that I think can actually go out and get Antonio Brown, and I think it'll actually make sense. All right, you ready for it?
Sure, go on.
Number 1 on my list are the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Because they can afford it. I'm sure they can make it happen for his contract, which is a pretty sizable contract. He's like $14, $15 million a year. He's really good. They have 2 first-rounders this upcoming draft. So they have the capital to go out, trade for him. They could probably send one of their second or third string wide receiver, go get him. Then you get a combination of Devontae Adams, and you get Antonio Brown and Aaron freaking Rodgers throwing the ball to him. And Rodgers is talented, super talented, one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever watched. Not a GOAT, all due respect, Tom Brady, shout it out. But imagine Aaron Rodgers, Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams. That's a freak. That's a freak combination you got right there. Okay, so I could see that happening.
Yeah.
And I have no problems with it. I'd watch it. I'd be entertained. I wouldn't want to play it against them, but I'd be really entertained. The second team on my list, the San Francisco 49ers. They can certainly afford him. They have a lot of cap space. Shanahan, their head coach, is a really big offensive guru. And give Jimmy Garoppolo, coming off of an ACL, of course, there's a little bit of hesitation going on with that. But you give your young quarterback that you're paying a stupid amount of money a really good wide receiving option. And I've been saying this for the last 2 years now, that they need to go out and get a really good receiver, be it in the draft, somebody who is a legitimate threat. At the time, it was Des Bryant for a while. I thought they should have gotten him, but obviously things didn't happen.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown seems like a good option. I wouldn't mind if San Francisco dealt some future picks and maybe one of their assets to go get Antonio Brown. I think the Steelers would jump on it. He wants to. I mean, there's plenty of players in San Francisco that want Antonio Brown. Go make it happen. And the third team on my list are the New York Jets. They can certainly afford it as well. They got a ton of cap space. You're trying to rebuild this offense, new head coach in town. You are trying to build a certain type of culture, and whether or not that really involves Antonio Brown's antics or not is, to be determined. But the Jets seem like they'd be a good fit. Give Sam Darnold a great weapon to throw to, and you go out and win a few more football games. Do you have any other ideas on where he could go? Because it's not going to be the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not.
Because they've made it loud and clear, we will not deal Antonio Brown to New England.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Any other ideas on this topic?
I really don't. It's quite interesting. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah.
Something to
That's fair.
Spark the interest, I guess. So.
Well, we're going to take a quick 36-second break, exactly 36 seconds. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about, because I missed the show last week, was a little ill.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Joe Flacco being a Denver Bronco for a quick little bit, and then we're going to keep the ball rolling. So stick around. We'll be right back after this.
We're back, and better than ever. Radio Free Radford.
Ready? Realize what I'm about to say.
Come on! Go! Playing what you want to hear. RFR.
Hello, I am Ellie Golding.
Hey everybody, this is Natalie Laro.
Hey, what's up? It's Brianna.
What up, y'all? This is Jeremiah.
Radford's new choice of music. RadioFreeRadford.com.
And welcome back into the Radio Free Radford studio. This is Tristan Rines here with the Rines Report. Excuse me. I am joined in studio by the weatherman, Dustin Staples.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Dustin?
Awesome.
Awesome?
Awesome.
Awesome, possum?
Yep.
That's right, man. You ready for spring break? You ready for the weekend?
I am.
What you excited for coming up, Dustin?
Well, let's see. Besides keeping track of all this flooding, I think we catching up some sleep.
Some sleep?
Some sleep, and maybe catch up on assignment. I'm falling a little bit behind, unfortunately, but you know.
Oh man,
that's college life for you. So.
That's right. You got to stay on top of them studies, man.
You do.
You got to get off to a really good start.
Yeah.
You know.
I did all right the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And after that's like.
Just downhill from there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna fix it. No worry.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Academics first.
That's absolutely
Here
true.
at Highlander Student Media, we are always promoting our academics. Academics come first, organization second. You know, go get that education, man. Education matters.
Yes, it does.
But, you know, join Radio Free Radford for some radio knowledge as well. Really happy to have you on the crew. But now let's talk about a transition that was made last week.
Okay.
Like I said before we went to break, I was a little bit sick, couldn't make the show, didn't want to infect the studio. So, had to cancel, unfortunately. Terrence couldn't be with us this week. He's out of town seeing some family, so shouts out to Terrence if you're checking out the show right now. Joe Flacco's a Denver Bronco. Okay. So Joe Flacco, former Super Bowl MVP, okay kind of quarterback in my opinion. You can argue with me about that if you want. I don't think he's an elite guy, but he's better than average. Around average, a little bit better than average. He's okay. Baltimore has decided to invest heavily into Lamar Jackson as the future of the organization. He was the first round pick. They took at number 32 in this last year's draft. Pretty okay. I have some what's the word I'm looking for here? I have some hesitations about Lamar Jackson. Mostly because the kid is a turnover machine. He's really effective and he gives that offensive spark, and he's shown that he can win games. But I'd like to see him win games without turning the ball over more than 3 times every game. All right, so that's my big hesitation. So by Baltimore standards, I understand the move because you're bringing the franchise in a new light. You got a new player. You got the guy who's sparking the offense. You know, it's not standard football, dink, dunk, whatever. Yeah. Flacco hasn't necessarily been a very great quarterback in the last few years. More of a check down guy. Doesn't really like throwing it over the top. But that's just, that's the analysis. Denver went out and got him in a trade. I'm not exactly sure what the details behind that are yet. I think probably a couple picks, nothing crazy.
Gotcha.
Joe Flacco has a big contract, so an okay move by Denver. I think he's an improvement over Case Keenum. And last year at this time, when I was talking about my quarterback list, if you're a veteran listener to the show with Sam Montana as my former co-host, he gave me the strangest look when I said Case Keenum was not even top, he was in my bottom 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and he gave me this weird look. He's like, "Yeah, but he's pretty good. He's coming to the playoffs." Blah blah. I was like, "He's not that great. He's got good receivers. He's not that great." So Keenum is probably on his way out the door. 1 year moved out of a big signing deal. Denver can get out from under that contract, from what I understand, pretty easily without a whole lot of hassle. So they can carry Joe Flacco's contract, no problem.
Okay.
I think this is good, essentially for everyone. Denver can get the quarterback that's going to at least give them a better chance of making the playoffs, a little bit more of a savvy starter in the NFL. He has playoff experience. He knows how to work in an NFL system effectively. Denver's got a really solid offense built around the quarterback position. The offensive line's okay. You got Philip Lindsay, who just made the Pro Bowl as an undrafted rookie, which is spectacular. First rookie to ever do that.
Okay.
I like Sutton, their wide receiver they drafted in the third round this last season at SMU. They got Emmanuel Sanders still. I understand they're going through a little bit of contract stuff with him.
Okay.
But Denver's got a pretty solid offense built around the quarterback position. Denver also has a really good defense. You got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Chris Harris Jr. You got a really steady defense built around him. This can be a playoff team if Joe Flacco can play to his fullest potential.
Okay.
So they're one of my sleeper teams going into this next season. I think it's pretty much good for everyone. Now, going to the Baltimore side. While I did say at the beginning of this segment, I don't have the fullest faith in Lamar Jackson based on what I've seen. I think he has a lot of potential. He's a flashy young quarterback. There's a lot of learning that has to be done if you're a rookie in the NFL. Not everybody can just hop on out, go make plays in the playoffs, go take it to the Super Bowl. It doesn't happen often. Okay. I think Baltimore, gets out from underneath that big Joe Flacco contract. They have more money to spend in free agency, get some more key pieces, build around Lamar Jackson. And eventually, your team's going to be solid. The defense is still phenomenal. So, overall, I'd say it's an okay move by both sides. I don't really see anybody here that quite lost. I think Baltimore has less of the upside. Broncos can take the most from this deal and work the most with it. But I also think Baltimore's going to be okay. They'll be a contender to make playoffs this upcoming season. There's lots that's going to happen in the offseason as well. We'll have to take into consideration a lot of things after the draft, after free agency is open, some signings. By the time we get to preseason, we'll have a really good idea. Unfortunately, I won't be on Radio Free Radford by the time preseason premieres, but we'll still be doing stuff on Facebook Live, hopefully. Just keep in touch. I'm a big sports guy, so just keep a lookout for it. I graduate this semester, but, always going to stay on top of the sports.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's really all I got for that segment.
Okay.
You got any thoughts on that, Dustin? Anything quick?
No, it's just like I said. It's a learning process as I'm not real sports savvy, I should say. But it. So.
Yeah, we're gonna let you go here in the next few minutes.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to plug before you hop out of here, and then we continue with the show?
Sure. While I'm at it, if you have not done so already, head over to Twitter and Instagram and search up RU Weather with the number 1. A lot of people say it's with 1 WONE. No, it's RU Weather 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Like it and follow it. And while you're at it, just search us up on Radio Free Radford. There you go.
That's right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio. We will be back here after a few minutes of break, about 3 minutes or so. So stick around. We should be joined either in studio by Yves White here momentarily, or we will just continue with the show as regularly scheduled. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dustin.
Thank you for having me.
And, say bye to the people on Facebook Live.
Bye.
All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Radio Free Radford studio. I'm your host, Tristan Blake Rines, here with the Rines Report. We had a great show. Thank you so much to Dustin Staples for joining us here in the studio. Momentarily, I'm expecting to have Yves White pop into the studio at some point, the Director of Student Media Advertising, SMADS, here at Highlander Student Media. But for right now, I want to talk about Odell Beckham and some trade rumors that are swirling around him, why it's a little controversial, why I also do not buy it. To me, it's dumb to me that people are considering Odell Beckham to be a trade candidate 1 year removed from him signing the richest wide receiver contract in NFL history, being the highest paid receiver in football as of the moment. To me, it's ridiculous. Thank you, by the way, if you're checking in and watching on Facebook Live. You can find all those shows on the Rines Report Facebook page, spelled RINES, to anybody listening on RadioFreeRadford.com. Definitely appreciate all the love and support from over there. Definitely appreciate all the love and support from our Facebook side, our social media side, Also, check out Radio Free Radford on social media at Radio Free Raddy on Twitter. And then when you just search Radio Free Radford on Instagram and Facebook, give them a follow, give them a like. I'd appreciate it. Share the love, share our content. Definitely appreciate it all around. So, Odell Beckham, 1 year removed from the highest paid wide receiver contract signing ever. Fans and some media are all rumoring that he's going to be gone. He could be traded somewhere. Let me just say this right off the top. I highly doubt it. Patriots were targeting him. There were articles coming out. The Patriots had 12 draft picks this year. Not a heavy draft team historically. They could use him to try to go out and trade for other players. Could consider Odell Beckham. But I would say the odds of Odell Beckham being traded to the New England Patriots are about, I don't know, maybe like 5%. Like, if it happens, I'll be as surprised as everybody else. I will be delighted. You know, I'm a Patriots fan. I wear my my opinions on my sleeve. I'm not going to hide from that. All Boston. Wear my Red Sox hat. If you're watching on the live stream, you can see that. But I don't see it happening. I highly doubt it. While I think the Patriots go out and make a move to go get some wide receivers, I do not think the Giants are going to actually trade Odell Beckham, and I definitely don't think they would trade him to the New England Patriots. What the Giants actually need to do is go get a quarterback. Eli Manning is not pushing the ball 40 yards anymore. He's just not doing it. They've been trying to rebuild this offensive line. They went out and got Nate Solder. I liked that pickup. He was okay. Will Hernandez, a really solid pickup at guard. I liked him a lot during this past season, but everybody else in that line is mediocre at best. There's so many holes in that offensive line, my little sister could run through them. If she's a defensive player, excuse me. She can get through that offensive line like it's butter. So you need to get a set of talent around a young quarterback to win games. You need to keep your young talent. Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard. I like him a lot too. You keep building talent. You keep that defense pretty steady. By the time you get a young quarterback that can work in Shermer's system, the Giants could be a threat to make the playoffs. With Eli Manning currently, they're not a threat at all. Eli ain't slinging it 40 yards. Go get a quarterback. Odell Beckham's not happy. He's the center of some of these trade rumors, and I don't blame him. What does this say about the Giants organization? Oh, he's a little bit charismatic, and, you know, he's a little charismatic, very passionate, and does some controversial things. The whole kicking net thing was kind of crazy. He's definitely very emotional about the state of the game. I understand that. But you know who else has a lot of passion for the game? And we throw tons and tons of respect at it, and we love it so much. Most of us anyway. There are some fans who will not be happy with the pick I'm about to make. But Tom Brady. Tom Brady throws tons of passion out there. He's super loud and enthusiastic on the sidelines, and we all praise it. Let's not double standard here. All I'm saying is I understand the awareness around Odell Beckham. Like, oh man, he's a little out there. But the dude's passionate about the game of football. I respect that. I'd want him on my team. He seems like he's an okay person in the locker room. He isn't dividing people. He's not causing controversy. Antonio Brown's a little bit of the center of that right now. That's what we're all thinking about. He's not as bad as, like, you know, Terrell Owens or anything of that nature. So, I'm just saying. I saw some stuff too. Sam Montana, if you're a listener of the show, avid listener, veteran listener, you remember Sam Montana from last year. He and I still stay in constant communication. We talk a lot. He sends me articles here and there. I wanted to address one thing that I saw, one of the things he sent me. Well, maybe a couple things. But he sent me something that was like, oh, this is a cryptic message. This is the tweet that Odell put out. One day, everything will all make sense in the end. I promise you. Stories unfolding. It's all part of the journey. # just wait. To me, that doesn't say anything. That could just be him feeling, you know, like, okay, like, you know, this is part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like, this is just the day-to-day life. We grinding out here. You know what I mean? But because it doesn't sound explicit, it's not, you know, 100%, okay, I'm working out, you know, one day at a time. It could just be something about him working out. The process of the offseason. It doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, the Giants are trading me. But I understand why Odell Beckham wouldn't be happy about these trade rumors. The cryptic pictures and messages and all that stuff, they don't mean anything. It tells us nothing. So stop looking for it. Don't get your hopes up, Patriots fans. I'm not getting my hopes up. And also, from Odell Beckham, I understand why he's not happy being at the center of these trade rumors. I don't blame him. What does it say about the organization? It says, okay, not only Are the Giants not communicating to him that you're not on the trade market? We're not considering trading you. You're one of our star players, one of the faces of our franchise. But on top of it, it's like, okay, sign a big contract. You guys just made a commitment to me. Last year I was in the center of these trade rumors. You guys were considering trading me, but, you squashed that by signing me to this big deal. You guys showed your appreciation. But if he's upset about this, I feel like it's because the Giants aren't saying, yo, Odell, we're not going to trade you, bro. Just calm down. It's going to be okay. Let the people talk, say what they want, but you're staying here in New York. You're one of the faces of our franchise. You got to tell your star players that, unless you actually are moving on from them. And if so, I don't know, make that knowledge. Put it out there. Don't leave your star player in the dark, because then all it does is just breed some resentment towards the organization. It's like, all right, I'm here on this deal, whatever, but they could trade me tomorrow. And that's business. I get it. But if you make a financial commitment to someone, like, okay, you're the highest paid wide receiver in football. We love you, Odell. You don't go behind him and go, you know what? A little bit of a weird year. A lot of players are kind of leaving. We're talking about Landon Collins a little bit later. But you don't just go out and stir the pot, but then you got to tell your guy, hey, either we're considering trading you or we're not. But if you don't tell him, hey, we're not trading you, you might as well have just been saying the other part, which is, okay, we're considering it. By not saying anything, you're saying that you're considering trading them. So, Giants, you guys got to figure it out. I understand why Odell's frustrated. And I just, if you're a Patriots fan, do not get your hopes up. Don't do it. Be reasonable here. All right? After this quick break, we're going to talk a little bit about Kareem Hunt. Like I said, I was out last week. I really wanted to touch on this really quickly. We'll touch a little bit more on some free agency stuff. And then we got 20 minutes remaining in the show. A few more segments I want to cover. So stick around. We're going the whole hour today. Really excited. Really happy to be here on RadioFreeRadford.com. Stick around. We'll be right back in about 20 seconds.
Your new favorite station.
You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it. This is your man, Flo Rida.
All the hits. The New River Valley's hit station. RFR. Radio Free Radford.
Welcome back into the Radio Free Radford studio. I am your host and general manager of Radio Free Radford, Tristan Blake Rines. This is the Rines Report. Thank you so much, everybody watching here on Facebook Live. If you haven't liked the page yet, please like us. If you haven't liked Radio Free Radford's pages or followed them on social media, you gotta go do it, man. On Twitter, it's Radio Free Raddy. Instagram and Facebook, when you search Radio Free Radford. Go give them a like. Go give us a follow. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening to me ramble on today. We're going to talk about something that's a little upsetting. Well, more than a little. It's upsetting. Kareem Hunt being signed by the Cleveland Browns. Let me start with this very loud and obnoxious question. But what kind of culture are you building, Cleveland? Just want to let that sit for a second. What kind of culture are you building? This is an upsetting move. There's evidence of him kicking someone, a person, like in general. Like you're in this kind of position. You don't need to be doing things like this. Being stupid. Putting your hands on someone over whatever it could have been. And you went out and signed him. Okay. You already have a good running back in Nick Chubb, who was like less than 10 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Running backs today seem easy to find. And this second chance for Kareem Hunt came way too soon. And I really hope the NFL is making him go through a process before he can actually touch the field. I've said on this show before that one of the teams I always root for, unless they're playing my Patriots or something, are the Cleveland Browns, because historically they've just been so bad. But I no longer feel compelled to root for the Browns. Not this way. Not at all. Kareem Hunt, yeah, it's really important to you to go win games. Okay, I understand it's the business side, whatever. But you're going to win games with somebody who we know put his hands on someone for whatever reason it could have been. Which, by the way, is inexcusable. Doesn't matter what your reason is. So stupid. I'm upset about this. Because the Cleveland Browns were at least at one point, like, they were a bad organization to begin with, like, not winning football games. You go out and get Baker Mayfield. You got some really good young talent. You're making moves. And then you go out of your way to sign Kareem Hunt. That's just saying, all right, we do not care what it takes to win football games. We just want to go out and win football games. Whatever else. There are plenty of good running backs out there, Cleveland, and you went out and signed Kareem Hunt. Yeah, he burned you guys for 3 touchdowns last season before that whole story came out. Dude's talented, but apparently no matter how talented you are, doesn't stop you. That's the Cleveland Browns. It's the NFL today. Let's hold the Browns accountable for this. You went out and signed somebody to whatever the deal was, like $1 million something, which he doesn't deserve. He is not prepared, in my opinion, to be out there playing football again. I'm very curious as to what the conversations were leading up into that. And the fact that this didn't get even more coverage than it did is a little upsetting. It's upsetting. And the Cleveland Browns need to take a long look in the mirror and say, what are we going to do to win football games? What are we willing to stoop to? Okay, someone who so we're going to sign this guy to like $1 million something deal this season who put his hands on someone who obviously has temper issues. This dude's got problems. Need to figure it out. On a lighter note, I don't like transitioning into things, by the way, that make me happy. Like, what I'm going to talk about now is the NFL free agency. The NFL free agency makes me happy. Now I feel a little sour about the whole process because of Kareem Hunt. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks, Cleveland Browns. Can't root for you guys this year. Just can't do it. Like, I sound like one of those really pouty football fans where it's like, oh man, but this is a real reason why not to root for them. As long as Kareem Hunt's on that roster, I cannot feel compelled to root for the Cleveland Browns. I just cannot do it. Just saying. Disappointing. Anyway, the NFL free agency. I believe it opens March 13th. Let me double check that real quick. It was on top of my head. NFL free agency 2019 date. March 14th, excuse me. March 14th is when the official new league year begins. I have a few guys here on this small list to look out for. A few key names that I really like that we're going to keep an eye on going into free agency, looking at the rumors, and I'm really excited about. So a couple of guys I have on this list. I'm only going to talk about 2 today. I could be talking about more players at some point, but right now we're going to stick to these 2 because they're going to be the big ones you're looking at for free agency. Last time we were on the show, we covered Nick Foles. Of course, he's going to be a huge name going into free agency. He bought his way out of his contract option with the Philadelphia Eagles, so he will be a free agent, is able to sign anywhere he wants to go sign, go play anywhere he wants to go play. We talked about him, and I laid out my opinions on where I think he should go. Some people are thinking he's going to Washington. Didn't like that. I like the Giants still. Like I said, they need a quarterback. Jacksonville, I like them a lot. So there are a few teams that are going to be looking for Nick Foles' services, but we covered that last time. When we get closer to free agency, of course, Nick Foles will be one of the names we stick around and look at for a while, but I want to talk about Earl Thomas. Now, he's coming off of a bad leg injury, of course, has voiced loud and clear how frustrated he was with Seattle. He is a free agent going into this offseason. There are a number of big safeties going into this offseason. Like I said earlier, we touched a little bit on Landon Collins. He cleaned out his locker and said, everything I left there, I don't need. So it looks like Landon Collins is going to be a free agent. Does not seem happy with the Giants organization. We talked about the Giants a little bit earlier in the show. He's another big name I want to look out for too. But Earl Thomas, let's spotlight him for a moment. I got 3 teams that I think he can go sign with and are legitimate options for him. So, of course, number 1 are the Dallas Cowboys. They need some more help in that secondary. That's been a big issue for them the last couple seasons. They've got a really good front 7 with Sean Lee, Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, a number of really good key players on that. Taco Charlton as well. He's been developing pretty nicely, I believe. Byron Jones is their best secondary player. So you need to go out there, go get Earl Thomas, and it'll push you deeper into the playoffs. I really believe that the Cowboys go get Earl Thomas. I know Terrence, if he's listening, will be very happy with this. I'm sure he's been keeping track of it as well. The Dallas Cowboys getting Earl Thomas, to me, that's at least an extra win on the schedule. That's more plays being made, all health considered, obviously. They're going to be interesting. They're going to be fun to watch. The second team on my list for Earl Thomas are the Green Bay Packers. I mentioned Green Bay earlier in the show when I was talking about Antonio Brown. I feel like Green Bay's gearing up to have a pretty solid offseason. They always seem to try to make a couple big moves. They draft really well. They got Jaire Alexander last year in the draft. They got a really good secondary player. You keep bolstering that secondary. They let go of HaHa Clinton-Dix, sent him over to Washington. So you need to go replace that gap in the safety position. You saw how low on depth they were in the Patriots game, especially at the secondary. In the secondary, you go get Earl Thomas. The Packers, to me, become one of the playoff favorites. They sneak into the playoffs. If the Bears win the division, whatever, they get in the playoffs if they have Earl Thomas. As long as, of course, all health considered. I think he could fit that scheme pretty well. They got some new coaching in there. They're going to be working out ways. I feel like Earl Thomas to Green Bay is not nearly as far-fetched as some can make it out to be. I feel like they could make the contract work, sign him to a pretty simple, maybe like 3-year deal, 2-3-year deal. Go try to win a championship. Give Aaron Rodgers more to work with. If you have Earl Thomas back there, you're at least getting the ball back a few times during the season. You're at least putting the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands a few more times during the season. You're putting up some more points because of Earl Thomas being in your secondary. He's a playmaker. He's the best safety in football. Go get him. And then my final pick for Earl Thomas to land, the New Orleans Saints. They just cut ties with Kurt Coleman, a veteran safety in the NFL. He's going to find a job somewhere. I'm pretty certain of that. But Earl Thomas to the New Orleans Saints, to me, makes the New Orleans Saints my NFC team if I'm picking Super Bowl picks right now. Because you think, Earl Thomas in that defense, you get another big playmaker out there. Their secondary's okay. They got Marshawn Lattimore out there. I like him a lot. The front seven's pretty solid. You got Marcus Davenport and Cameron Jordan coming off the edges. Their defensive coordinating has stepped up a lot over the last couple seasons, has made them a Super Bowl caliber team. I always said if Drew Brees had a really good defense, they could be a Super Bowl team, and they were a handful of plays away from making the Super Bowl this year. We've talked plenty about that, but whatever. But you go get Earl Thomas, and you're the New Orleans Saints. I feel like it's a big move. I feel like he makes plenty of impact plays. You become a Super Bowl caliber roster based on just getting Earl Thomas. I feel like the Saints like using guys like Earl Thomas in creative ways. He can go down and boom and hit you. He can make plays in the open field, go after the ball. He's a complete safety. I like Earl Thomas. If he's going to go anywhere that's not the Dallas Cowboys, which Cowboys are the early favorite, I like Green Bay. I like New Orleans especially to go get Earl Thomas. And now Le'Veon Bell, of course. I got 4 teams really quickly because we're going to talk about Le'Veon. He's going to be a free agent. They're not going to franchise tag him again. Why go through all that drama? Le'Veon Bell, I got 4 teams really quickly. I'm going to round them off. New York Jets, Indianapolis Colts, San Francisco 49ers, and the Miami Dolphins. The New York Jets, if you're going to go get Le'Veon, pay him. You get Sam Darnold, a nice new weapon, and you get a new head coach in Adam Gase. He knows how to be creative. You guys can make Le'Veon Bell feel right at home in the Big Apple. Plenty of money. Go get Sam Darnold some more playmakers. Indianapolis, they got plenty of money. Like all these teams I'm going to name have plenty of money. So I'm just going to stop there with the money stuff. Andrew Luck, Frank Reich, they're a playoff team. He's expressed interest in playing with Andrew Luck before. Make it happen. San Francisco, lovely weather, obviously. You're going to get Garoppolo some more weapons. They already have Matt Breida in that backfield, Alfred Morris. They have a really good tandem backfield there. But you throw Le'Veon Bell into that mix, he's obviously your starter. He's a good receiving threat. And I feel like Shanahan knows how to use big play, like really talented guys. Like he had Julio Jones when he was in Atlanta. And he knows how to capitalize and use your best players and allows them to go make plays. I like him in San Francisco. I don't think that's necessarily where he lands, but I do like the idea of him in San Francisco. I'd make it one of those teams you watch. Miami. He spends a lot of time in Miami. There's some money there. They got some new coaching there. I don't know if he quite fits all the schemes. that they're going to want to run with Brian Flores and his staff. There's a lot to be determined there. But I wouldn't rule out Le'Veon Bell to Miami. Now, we're coming up on the final segment of the show, so I'm going to hit you guys with a quick break. We're going to cover a little bit of some early Super Bowl stuff, why I find that annoying, and if we got time, we're going to cover the AAF buyout. So stick around here. We'll be right back in about 10 seconds.
Hey everyone, this is Demi Lovato, and you're listening to today's Top Hits
Radio Free Radford.
Welcome back into the Radio Free Radford studio. This is Tristan Blake Rines here, the general manager of Radio Free Radford and your host of the Rines Report every Friday here at 11 a.m. We're also on Facebook Live. Check us out. Like the page. Love the articles. love the work I'm doing. Please share the stuff. Share our content everywhere. Early Super Bowl picks. Why I have an issue with this. The Super Bowl just ended, by the way. I hope everybody remembers that. Not to declare like, oh yeah, the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not doing that because obviously I'm happy about it. But let's slow our roll on this whole, okay, we got picks for the next team that's going to make the Super Bowl. It's less than a month away. Less than a month since the Super Bowl ended, but we're going to start making picks. Now, a lot of people are thinking the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC. I'm going to run through this really quickly on why I could buy into it and why you shouldn't. Kansas City is going to get better on defense. Their offense is really great. Mahomes is an MVP, but they're going to get better on defense. It's a fact. They'll do well in free agency. They're going to draft heavy on defense. Their offensive line's probably going to get a little bit better, and they need to go out and get a running back. Like I said, running back league, you can find them. They're all over the place. Philip Lindsay went undrafted and made the Pro Bowl. So the Chiefs can go find a running back or two. I mean, heck, you saw what they did with Damian Williams, and he was pretty effective. So I'm just saying, the offensive line will probably get a little bit better. Look for them to draft more heavily on defense. Go after secondary players. Eric Berry's going to be healthy this year. They're going to go out and probably try to find a couple corners. They got Kyle Fuller. He's all right. You got to go out and find some more secondary players. There's a lot of secondary players here in free agency coming up. You got guys like Landon Collins, Earl Thomas, Tyrann Mathieu. He's also a free agent. You got LaMarcus Joyner, I believe, is also going to be a free agent. So just keep your eyes out for the Kansas City Chiefs to make some more moves in that secondary, and especially on defense. Mahomes is young and exciting. People are going to want to play with him. All right? So that's why the Chiefs could win. Why you should not buy into the Kansas City Chiefs as the AFC favorite going into this next upcoming season. The New England Patriots are still around. Tom Brady's still playing. He just won his sixth Super Bowl at 41 years old. New England's always a contender. Will get better in the offseason as well. They always tend to make some moves, go get some free agents. Their draft picks seem to be okay. This year they went and got J.C. Jackson, ended up being like a role starter, ended up being like their nickel corner at times. They use corners. They use their picks pretty wisely. And even signing guys undrafted, they know how to make the best out of all their players. New England's going to be a contender. Never bet against the Patriots. It's one of the safest bets in sports. Kansas City, I don't know if they're quite there yet, but teams to consider to make the playoffs, to maybe make the Super Bowl. Like I said, this is a lot of stuff that's considerable and dependent upon free agency, the draft, OTAs, people make sure they're still healthy. You got the Saints. I would say the Saints could be a favorite. The Rams, Green Bay, the Chargers, Chicago, but not with Trubisky. I don't know if Trubisky's quite that guy. But also, it's too early to predict this kind of stuff legitimately. Like, if I put my name on my pick for the Super Bowl right now, there's a really good chance it's not going to happen. I don't like making these kind of picks until we get closer to like the preseason, the regular season, see who's healthy. What are these teams looking like? Do they look adequate? So a lot of things can change. There's a lot to develop between now and the preseason. Free agency, the draft, OTAs, retirements, all sorts of stuff happens. And now finally, I'm going to end the show on the AAF buyout. That's right, Alliance of American Football. They got bought out. There were some reports of them missing payroll after week 2. The average player salary is like $83,000 a year. So for some reason, according to a USA Today article I read, it was like a payroll error with the AAF, and they were figuring that out, trying to change some things over, blah, blah. The AAF was bought out by the Carolina Hurricanes owner, Charlie Dudon. I can't remember. I think that's how you say his name. For $250 million, $250 million. That's a lot of money. We've seen collapses for football leagues, the XFL, which is returning in 2020. Dudon is looking at the AAF as a long-term plan for at least 5 years, or until the NFL buys it out. It would be smart to make it into a developmental league. That's what I think they should do. The AAF is interesting. It's football with less restrictions. People can get smashed over the head, and people get excited and they cheer, blah, blah. It makes me realize how safe the NFL actually is, but how far the game's come. The AAF, in the way I like to describe it, is the NFL, like 10 years ago, light and watered down. It's like the talent isn't that great. There's some rules that are different. Like there's no such thing as an onside kick. You do like a 4th and 12 play from your own 28, and you got to convert that to keep the drive going. They don't do kickoffs. What else do they do? You can only rush 5 guys at a time on defense. And there's something else I'm missing here. I feel like I am. Oh yeah, there's kicking, but you can only do kick extra points. There's only 2-point conversions instead. So there's no extra points. You can kick field goals, but 2-point conversions instead. So the AAF seems interesting to watch, but I think it'll be around for a little bit. Dudon wants to keep it around for his long-term plans, at least 5 years is the projection for how long they can keep this thing sustainable and going. But that's about all the time I have for today's show. Thank you guys so much for listening here on RadioFreeRadford.com to the Rines Report. I'm your host, Tristan Blake Rines. If you're watching here on Facebook Live, thank you so much for tuning in during the entire hour of the stream. Thank you so much, Dustin Staples, for tuning in. I have no idea whatever happened to Eves, but whatever. Check this out. Check them out on social media as well. Dustin Staples, RUWeather1 on social media. Radio Free Radford on social media, at Radio Free Raddy, Instagram, and Facebook when you search Radio Free Radford. Have a wonderful and safe weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the show, and adios.